Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tempe City Council regular council meeting. Item number 1 is call to order. Council meetings can be watched in real time via Cox Cable Channel 11 and at tempe.gov/tempe11. Members of the public may also attend the meeting virtually through Microsoft Teams. If you have signed up to speak on items later on in the agenda, please know that as the presiding officer, I have the discretion to introduce items out of their regular order as listed on the agenda. I may change the order of items from time to time to accommodate scheduling, to allow us to address items with a large number of speaker cards, so those wishing to speak on those items don't have to wait until later in the meeting or to otherwise expedite the business of the meeting. If you wish to speak on an agenda item and you haven't filled out a speaker card yet, please make sure to fill out and submit your completed card to the city clerk prior to the item coming forward for council discussion. I will call your name when it is your turn for public comment. I'd now like to invite everyone who's able and willing to stand to please join me in a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Just as a note as well, Councilmember Keating is joining us virtually here for those here in the audience and for those watching at home. Also, tonight's agenda has a number of items that the City Council must consider in order to conduct city business. Guidelines for conduct at City Council meetings are on the table near the entrance for those in attendance at tonight's meeting. We will now play a video with the proper protocol for ensuring the appropriate conduct at City Council meetings.
The City of Tempe welcomes public comment at this time. Disruptive behavior will not be allowed. Continued disruptive behavior will lead to removal from the council chambers. We need to be able to hear everyone in the room. Behavior that disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of any city council meeting is not helpful and is not permitted. This includes behavior both inside and outside of the council chambers. Should individuals inside the council chambers become disruptive so that city business is not able to be conducted, the mayor will first ask that the individuals allow city business to be completed. There will be time for public comment during the call to the audience portion of the meeting. If no cooperation, the mayor will issue a verbal warning and let them know that the continued disruptive behavior will lead to removal from the council chambers. If there is still no cooperation, the mayor will issue a second verbal warning and let them know that the continued disruptive behavior will lead to removal from the council chambers. If there is no cooperation after asking and 2 verbal warnings, then the mayor will ask security officers to remove only those individuals who are causing the disruption. Security personnel should not engage in any way, but only escort them from the council chambers. If individuals refuse to leave, security personnel shall warn them that they are trespassing and that the next step will be arrest by a Tempe police officer. Tempe officers may have to arrest if individuals refuse to leave. Charges for trespass and disorderly conduct may apply, as well as other charges. Should anyone be asked to be removed, the mayor will recess the meeting.
Thank you very much. We will now play a video conveying the City of Tempe's Native Land Acknowledgement Statement.
We wish to acknowledge that Tempe is the homeland of the Native people who have inhabited this landscape since time immemorial. These ancestral lands of the O'odham, known as Pima, Peeposh, known as the Maricopa, and their ancestors extend far beyond our city. This land continues to be spiritually connected to the O'odham of the Salt River Pima, Maricopa Indian Community, and Gila River Indian Community. We accept the responsibility of stewarding those places and solemnly pledge to consider this commitment in every action.
Thank you so much. Next up, item number 4, meeting minutes tonight. I'll be assisted by Vice Mayor Garland. Vice Mayor.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes for A1.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland. Have a second. Seconded by Councilmember Chin. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. Next up, item 4B, acceptance of board, commission, and committee meeting minutes. Vice Mayor Garland.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the board, commission, and committee meeting minutes for B1 to 4B13.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland. I have a second by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. Next up, reports and announcements. So item 5A1, City of Tempe Board and Commission reappointments and new appointments. So serving on a city board or commission is a terrific way to get involved in local government and to start making a difference in our community. The City Council and I congratulate the individuals outlined in item 7A1 on tonight's agenda on their reappointments and or new appointments to the City of Tempe Arts and Culture Commission, Aviation Commission, Board of Adjustment, Commission on Disability Concerns, Desert Conservation Commission, Enhanced Services Commission, Family Justice Commission, Human Relations Commission, Library Advisory Board, Neighborhood Advisory Commission, Parks, Recreation, Golf, and Double Butte Cemetery Advisory Board, Risk Management Trust Board, Sustainability and Resilience Commission, Technical Code Advisory Board of Appeals, Transportation Commission, and Veterans Commission. Thank you for getting involved to helping to define the direction of our city. All of us up here are very grateful for your service. That's my only announcement, Steve. I'll turn to item number 5B, which is City Manager's reports and announcements. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. No announcement this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. Which brings me to item number 6, public appearances. According to the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the City Council may only discuss, respond to, or take action on matters listed elsewhere on this agenda for discussion and legal action. The purpose of the open call to the public is to allow individuals to address the City Council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the City Council. No person shall speak more than once, and there is a limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers present at the podium must state their name and city of residence and provide a speaker card. Members of the public shall refrain from making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks and from becoming boisterous while addressing the City Council or while attending the meeting. Speakers will be taken first come, first serve in the order in which the cards are received. Speakers' visual aids and appearances by phone or recordings are not allowed. The City Council is prohibited by state law from discussing, responding to, or taking action on matters raised during the call to the public, even if asked to do so by a member of the public, so long as the subject discussed by the speaker is not listed as a specific agenda item for Council's consideration for discussion and legal action. Individual members of the Council may respond to criticism made by speakers, ask staff to review a matter, or request a matter be placed on a future agenda. I've got 3 cards here this evening. The first speaker I have is Anne LeCure. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes.
Mayor and council members, my name is Anne LeCure. I'm a Tempe resident. I'm also here representing my elderly father, Bob LeCure, who turned 90 on Monday. And we promise to keep our comments short tonight. We have appreciated the time that you've spent listening to our concerns about Shalimar, beloved 44-acre green space. So tonight, we just have treats for you and a brief handout that explains all the many ways that we love Shalimar.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next speaker I have this evening is Chloe Kansas. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, I'm Chloe Kansas. I'm an ASU student, and I'm here once again to talk about Tempe City Code 2390 that criminalizes homelessness with up to 6 months in jail. I am here to plead with the City Council to decriminalize homelessness, especially in this vital time when more and more people are becoming homeless simply because they can't pay their bills. Even though they've done everything right, they're showing up to their jobs and they're working as hard as they can, and they're just falling short. Especially our elderly citizens who, are on a fixed income with their Social Security checks, and they've done nothing wrong. And what we're saying is if you can't afford the most basic apartment, you're a criminal and you deserve to go to jail for 6 months. And I think that's wrong, and I don't think that's what this city, as a city that prides itself on being at the cutting edge of progress, should have. It shouldn't be a law that this city has on its books. If this is really what you guys want to represent, so please repeal the law, amend the law. You guys are the experts, obviously, but it shouldn't be illegal to urban camp. It just shouldn't. It also comes at a great cost to the taxpayer. Anything more than a misdemeanor sends someone to the Maricopa County Jail, which is $637 at intake for the taxpayer and an additional $137 per night. So for every person that gets arrested for urban camping, that's $25,000 to the taxpayer to have them in prison instead of being helped or being redirected somewhere else. I think that's a foolish, grievous misuse of money, and I think it would be a mistake to continue having this law in our books. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker I have this evening is Liddy Spitak. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Please state your name and city of residence. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Liddy Spitak. I live in Tempe, Arizona. I've lived here all my life. I'm also speaking about the same issue as Chloe. Just that I got an email relatively recently from the city of Tempe stating that they were going to more strictly enforce their urban camping ordinance, which I think shouldn't have existed to begin with. I know it's a law from the 80s, which may have been a pretty different time, and now there's a lot better efforts that we know can assist people who are dealing with the houselessness crisis rather than just criminalizing them. And the email specifically stated that they would face fines and then jail time, as Chloe stated, which is not something that should be targeting these people who haven't done anything wrong. Again, it's not an issue that they have committed any crime of any sort for doing these, for camping in the streets. They don't really have a choice. It's a systemic failure. We need better resources for them. And trying to find them and put them in jail is not going to help. I'm sure there's some reason that this law is in place, like businesses complaining, things like that. If that seems to be the issue, then they need better resources that we can get people off the streets and not attempting to just keep them in jails. I would also like to say that it seemed like a lot of the emails from the the city of Tempe have like a nice newsletter and everything is all poppy and bright, but this one particular email seemed to kind of like sneak by, and the way that it even calls it just as urban camping seems very underhanded, as if it's trying to not mention homelessness directly and not face the issue full on. And just really criminalize these people just because we don't want to see them. And I'm out there with Chloe often feeding these people, helping them, talking to them, and they are afraid of getting help and being around police and anything like that because they know about this ordinance and that it's becoming more strictly enforced, and they don't want to be arrested, obviously, just for living their lives. So I would appreciate you guys considering that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the cards I have this evening. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council? If so, can you please get my attention? All right, seeing none, I will close item number 6 and move to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered as a group and will be enacted with one motion by the City Council unless an item is removed for separate consideration. Members of the public may remove public hearing items for separate consideration. Public hearing items are designated as public hearing item at the beginning of the item title. Council members may remove any item for separate consideration or to declare a conflict of interest. If a council member would like to declare a conflict at this time, the city clerk will provide the council member with a disclosure form. If you wish to speak on a public hearing item, please fill out a speaker card and submit your completed card to the city clerk prior to the agenda item coming forward for council discussion. I will call your name when it is your turn for public comment. This evening, the consent agenda is listed as miscellaneous items 7A1 through 7A5, awards of bids and contracts, items 7B1 through 7B12, and resolutions, items 7C1 through 7C6. Once again, any agenda item designated as public hearing item can be removed by a member of the public for separate consideration. If anyone would like to have a public hearing item removed, please get my attention now. Okay, seeing none, I will turn to my council colleagues to see if there are any agenda items that you'd like to have removed from the consent agenda for separate consideration.
So move.
Okay, item number 7 has been moved by Councilmember Hodge. Do I have a second? Yes. Seconded, I think I got the thumbs up first from Councilmember Amberg, so I'll give it to her, so by hair. So, with that said, please vote.
Yes.
It's all those bright lights she's got on.
Councilmember Adams?
Yes.
Okay, and that item passes 7-0.
Oh, shit, I got kicked out.
Next up, item 8, non-consent agenda. All items listed on the non-consent agenda will be considered separately. Agenda items scheduled for introduction and first public hearing will be heard but will not be voted upon at this meeting. Agenda items scheduled for second public hearing and final adoption will be voted upon tonight. Council members who may have a conflict of interest may abstain from voting on a matter, and the city clerk will provide the council members with the disclosure form at this time. First up, 8A, miscellaneous items, bids, contracts, and resolutions. The first item under the section is 8A1, which is to adopt a notice of intention to increase water, wastewater, and solid waste rates and set the date and time for the public hearing on proposed increases at 6 p.m. on February 20th, 2025. Council, any comments or discussion? All right, seeing none, I will look for a motion on item 8A1.
Second.
Let's see, who said, I heard all this.
I
Okay.
said second.
You said that, so, okay, so it's been moved by Councilmember Chin and seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. Okay.
Yes.
And can I voice? Yes. Okay, perfect, thank you. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A2, which is to approve the utilization of Sourcewell cooperative contracts with E1 Incorporated for the purchase of a squad heavy rescue response apparatus and hazardous materials response apparatus for the Tempe Fire Medical Rescue Department. Council members, any comments or discussion? It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Aye.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A3, which is to award a 2-year contract with 3 one-year renewal options to Pride Outfitting LLC, Arizona Emergency Products, Airwave Communications, and LSH Lights for the installation of emergency communication and lighting products on public safety vehicles and warning lighting and accessories on city utility vehicles. Council members, any comments or discussion? It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland. Have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Amberg. Please vote.
Yes.
And Councilmember Adams? Yes. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A4, which is to ratify a construction contract to Aiken Gardner Construction LLC for project number 6709831B, Downtown Streetscape Improvements, GMP2, located at Mill Avenue, Rio Salado Parkway to University Drive.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Adams, seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A5, which is to award a professional services contract to Wilson Engineers LLC for project number 6709831B, Downtown Streetscape Improvements, Mill Avenue, Rio Salado Parkway to University Drive.
Motion to approve.
Been moved by Councilmember Adams, seconded? Seconded by Councilmember Amberg. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. Next item under the section is 8A6, which is to award a construction manager at risk contract to Felix Construction Company Incorporated for project number 3205020D1, Well 21 Development, Phase 1 Site Development, located at the northeast corner of Rio Salado Parkway and Clubview Drive. Council members, any comments or discussion? So moved. It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland and seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The last item under the section is 8A7, which is to award a construction manager at risk contract to PCL Construction Incorporated for project number 3224018A, Kyrene Water Reclamation Facility Reactivation, GMP2 Early Procurement, located at 311 West Guadalupe Road. Council members, any comments or discussion? Motion to approve. It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland and seconded by Councilmember Adams. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next section on the non-consent agenda is ordinances and items for introduction and first hearing. The items under this section will be read and introduced tonight, but no substantive votes will be taken. The second hearings and votes are scheduled for January 9th, 2025. The first item under the section is 8B1, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance amending the Tempe City Code, Chapter 2, Article 5, Section 2-182, related to limitation of terms and number of positions for boards and commissions. This is also a public hearing item, so I'm going to open up the public testimony portion. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? If so, please get my attention. Seeing none, I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, just want to reiterate, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for January 9th, 2025. The next item under the section is 8B2, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance to transfer a portion of the capital improvement program, project number 5410180, Vision Zero Infrastructure Improvements, to provide sufficient funding to complete project number 6010769, Transportation Master Plan. This is also a public hearing item, so I'm going to open up the public testimony portion. If there's anyone wishing to speak to the council right now, please get my attention. All right, seeing that, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for January 9th, 2025. The next item under the section is 8B3, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance to transfer a portion of the capital improvement program, project number 5499741, roadway mill and overlay reconstructions, to provide sufficient funding to complete project number 6008961, bike and pedestrian improvements, Country Club Way from ASU Research Park to US 60 pedestrian bridge. This is also a public hearing item, so if there's any public testimony on this item, please get my attention now. Seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion? All right, seeing none, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for January 9th, 2025. The last item under the section is 8B4, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance to transfer a portion of the capital improvement program, project number 6710829, energy hubs and microgrids, to provide sufficient funding to complete project number 6708281L, interior space planning in Vision Center Kitchen, located at 1310 East Apache Boulevard. Once again, this is a public hearing item, so I'll open up the public testimony portion. If there's anyone wishing to address the council on this item, can you please get my attention at this time? Seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion? Seeing none, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for January 9th, 2024. The next section on the non-consent agenda is ordinances and items for second hearing and final adoption, so votes will be taken on these items tonight. The first item under the section is 8C1, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for an amended planned area development overlay to modify development standards and a development plan review for a new 7-story mixed-use development consisting of 272 dwelling units and commercial uses on 1.95 acres for Apache Square, located at 1747 East Apache Boulevard. The applicant is Gambage & Burnham, PLC. I see Ms. Voss in the back. Is there any presentation this evening? I know you gave one during the first hearing. All right, she's nodding that she's okay not giving one this evening. This also, though, is a public hearing item, so I'm going to open up the public testimony portion. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on item 8C1, please get my attention now. Okay, so I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion on item 8C1?
So move. Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hodge and seconded by Councilmember Adams. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. Ms. Voss didn't even have to make the long walk down, so congratulations. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. All right, the next item under the section is 8C2, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a zoning map amendment from CSS TOD to MU4 TOD and a planned area development overlay to establish development standards for a new 20-story mixed-use development consisting of 950 dwelling units and commercial uses on 3.61 acres for Nova Tempe, located at 835 South Rural Road. The applicant is Snell & Wilmer, LLP. Once again, the first public hearing actually took place here on November 21st, 2024. And just want to note that the applicant's representative indicated that the name of this project has since been changed to Leo Tempe, just for the public's notice.
Motion to approve.
Well, actually, I could ask first, can I withdraw for 1 second
sorry.
here?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wood, are you good? I'm good. Okay, anyone on the council want a presentation? We had one during the first hearing. Okay, everyone's good. This is also a public hearing item, so I'm going to open up the public testimony portion. If there's anyone wishing to address the council on this item, please get my attention at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Now I will turn back to Councilmember Adams.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Adams. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Garland? And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C3, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a zoning map amendment from CSS to PCC1 and a planned area development overlay to establish development standards for Tesla, located at 2077 East University Drive. The applicant is Andrew Ruig. Is there a presentation from the applicant? I would say the applicant, I should say, the representative, actually, Trent Robertson with Tesla, is actually here virtually this evening. So he's ready to answer questions if needed from members of council. But first, let me go to the public hearing portion. So let's open up the public testimony portion. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? If so, please get my attention. Seeing none, I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion? It's been moved by Councilmember Hodge, seconded by Councilmember Amberg. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C4, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment within the Tempe Zoning and Development Code, amending Section 3-401, accessory buildings, uses and structures, allowing detached shade canopies with a use permit in residential front yards and amending related definitions. The applicant is the City of Tempe. Council, any questions for city staff on item 8C4? Not seeing any, this is also a public hearing item. If there's any public testimony this evening on item 8C4, please get my attention. Seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any further comments or discussion? Yes, Councilmember Adams.
Yes, I think this is a great opportunity for people to cool down their houses, and I'm very supportive of this.
Excellent.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
And a motion to approve.
It's been moved by Councilmember Adams. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C5, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment within the Tempe Zoning and Development Code, amending Section 6-315 related to adaptive reuse of commercial, office, and mixed-use buildings for multifamily development. The amendment intends to comply with mandates and provisions of Arizona House Bill HB 2297. Council, I should also note, too, that Ryan LeVake is here. If anyone would like a presentation on this item, does anyone want a presentation this evening? Ryan, you are off the hook. This is also a public hearing item, so if there's any public testimony from anyone in the audience, please get my attention now. Seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any further comments or discussion? It's been moved by Vice Mayor Garland, seconded by Councilmember Chin. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C6, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment within the Tempe Zoning and Development Code, amending Part 6, Chapter 2 of the Zoning and Development Code related to zoning map amendments, applications, and deadlines as mandated from Arizona Senate Bill 1162. The applicant is the City of Tempe. Council, any questions for city staff on item 8C6? Seeing none, this is also a public hearing item, so I'm going to open up the public testimony portion. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to address us on item 8C6 this evening, please get my attention now. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any further comments or discussion? Been moved by Councilmember Hodge and seconded by Councilmember Adams. Please vote.
Yes.
Come on.
And that motion passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C7. Once again, my favorite one. To hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment within the Tempe Zoning and Development Code, amending Part 3, Special Use Standards, and Part 7, Definitions of the Zoning and Development Code related to the keeping and definition of domestic chickens, and providing for a definition of hoop house. The applicant is the city of Tempe. Council members, any comments or questions for staff on item 8C7 or any comments on what a hoop house is? No. Councilmember Chin is tempted, but she's refraining. So I'll take that as no questions. This is also a public hearing item. If there's any public testimony on item 8C7 relating to domestic chickens, please get my attention now.
Motion to approve.
All right.
I
First
love
one.
chickens.
Well, I got.
And I like their eggs even
Well,
better.
I've got to first close the public testimony portion of the public hearing first. I do not want Mr. Anderson to tackle me right before Christmas. All right, so now that the public testimony portion is closed, Councilmember Adams?
Sorry, I jumped the gun on that, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we have a lot of chickens in our neighborhood, and I've had chickens in the past, and they're very loving. I carried them everywhere, and they produce wonderful eggs. So I'd recommend everybody that can have a chicken to have a chicken and enjoy them. But don't butcher them, just take them for their eggs. So I'm moving forward with this motion. So,
All right. Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Adams. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0.
good job.
The next item under the section is 8C8, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a public utility easement located on the east side of Priest Drive and south of Rio Salado Parkway for address 1275 West Rio Salado Parkway, which is Carvana. This is also a public hearing item, so I'm going to open up the public testimony portion. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on item 8C8, please get my attention now. Seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any further comments or discussion? Okay, it's been moved by
Burdette.
Councilmember Hodge. And a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Adams. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C9, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the granting of a power distribution easement to Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District over certain city-owned land located at 2225 South 48th Street, and authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an easement agreement and related documents. This is also a public hearing item, so if there's any public testimony from anyone in the audience, please get my attention now. Seeing none, I'll close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Adams, seconded
Second.
by Councilmember Chin. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8C10, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance to transfer a portion of the Capital Improvement Program, project number 6711269, Tempe Municipal Operations Center, Phase 2, to provide sufficient funding to complete project number 55099001C, Impound Vehicle Storage Facility. This is also a public hearing item, so if there's any public testimony from anyone in the audience, please get my attention now. Seeing none, I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hodge. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Adams. Please vote. And that
Yes.
item passes 7-0. The last item under the section is 8C11, which is to hold the second and final hearing to adopt an ordinance to transfer budget appropriations from the Water Capital Improvement Program, Transportation and Road Capital Improvement Program, Transit Capital Improvement Program, and Traffic Signals and Street Lighting Capital Improvement Program, as identified in the attached table to the General Government Capital Improvement Program project number 6708311, Implementation Plan, Downtown Streetscape. This is also a public hearing item, so if there's any public testimony on this item from anyone in the audience, please get my attention now. Hearing none, I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Council members, any comments or discussion?
I have just a comment. I'm really glad.
Yes, Councilmember Adams?
I'm just really glad we're going forward with this program and getting it done. And so good job to Public Works and Engineering on this item.
Excellent.
Congratulations. Motion to approve.
Thank you so much. The motion has been made by Councilmember Adams. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Amberg. Please vote.
Yes.
And that item passes 7-0. That brings me to item number 9, current events, council announcements, and future agenda items. Council members may request that an agenda item be added to a future council meeting during their allotted time, but in accordance with the open meeting law, there should be no discussion on the item other than to clarify the request. This evening, I'm going to start with Councilmember Amberg. Nothing? Okay. Next up, I'm going to turn to Vice Mayor Garland.
Thank you, Mayor. I can't do it today.
Councilmember Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to take a moment to wish the residents of Tempe, city staff, and of course my colleagues a happy holiday season. Sorry I couldn't be there with you. I'm still on the mend, but I'll be back in person. You'll have to deal with me then in January. I want to welcome my new aide, Keaton Hill, on board. He started in early December, and he's doing a great job, going above and beyond already. So Keaton, welcome to Tempe, where I'm so happy to have you on the team, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the new year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Keating. Next up, I have Councilmember Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a sad announcement this evening, and that is the passing of Captain Scott Latham. He had cancer, and he bravely tried to get through it, and please keep Scott's wife, Ashley, and children, Caden and Kylie, in your thoughts and prayers. I'm sure as a council we'll be doing something to recognize this courageous hero. My second announcement is Arizona Theater Company is presenting their holiday classic Scrooge at the Tempe Center for the Arts. There are performances every day now through December 28th, except for Christmas Day. So go ahead and get on that bandwagon. It's really a great show. I've seen it, and it's touching. It's really good for the whole family to watch and sends great messages. I've secured a buy one, get one free discount code for tickets. To go and get those tickets, you can go to atc.org and enter code SCG Adams. That's S as in Sam, C as in Charlie, G as in Gordon, my father's name, Adams, and simply to redeem. My second announcement is the Polar Plunge. The plunge is to plunge or not to plunge. That is the question. So you could join us for the Polar Plunge pre-party, which you don't have to get wet at, with the silent auction and raffle at Spokes on Southern Avenue on Friday, January 10th from 4:30 to 7:30. That is a really fun event, so I'd encourage everyone to go. Or you can join us for the Polar Plunge itself at the Lakes Clubhouse on Saturday, January 11th. Check-in begins at 8 a.m. and the plunge is at 9 a.m. The cost is $25 if you register in advance and $30 if you register the morning of, whether you plunge or not plunge. So you can still go and chicken out. And the registration fee gets you a cool t-shirt, yummy snacks, and hot beverages, which will be needed, and bragging rights. All proceeds from the silent auction raffle and the plunge itself will benefit Tempe's adapted recreational programs, which provide recreational and social opportunities for those in our community with special needs. For more information, you can visit teamasa.org. Thank you. That concludes my announcements this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Adams. Next up, I have Councilmember Chin.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick happy holidays to everyone. And some of you may be traveling. You may have family members or friends traveling in. I wish them all safe travels. And a special good luck wish to our hometown Sun Devils, who will be traveling during this season to one of their first of hopefully 3 games coming up. So keep them in your thoughts and support our hometown Sun Devils. Thanks all.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Hodge.
Thank you. Upcoming, I have my subcommittee coming up in Friday, January 24th at 12 p.m. at Tempe City Hall. That's an increased advocacy for the Youth and Disability Subcommittee. Next, I have Breakfast with Burdetta. This is a good one. This is a fun one. This is going to be for Tempe school enrollment. You know, due to the fact that we have low birth weight and we're a landlocked city, our schools are struggling to keep kids in our classrooms. So this is a Breakfast with Burdetta combined with the 3 public schools. We're going to do an outreach for enrollment. And that is, well, I guess you already took it off, but that is on February 1st. And I have my Sandy Hook Promise, which is going to be January 11th from 10 to noon. And anybody who knows anything about Sandy Hook also knows that at this time in our lives, it's very important. Just look what just happened in Wisconsin. It's happening every day. So we have to make sure that as this, not only is just the schools, but as a community, we do as much as possible to make sure we keep our community and our kids safe. And that's what the Sandy Hook Promise is going to be about. Also, just a quick reminder that, with the holidays and everything, to take the time to familiarize yourself with the types of fireworks that we have that are legal and what ones that are not legal. And if you have any questions, you can visit us at tempe.gov/fireworks, and that can give you all the information and help you out with the guidance. And last but not least, I would like to wish everyone a happy and safe holidays. Take care of yourself, and we will see you in the new year.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Garland.
All right, got myself together here. I want to introduce our Young Women's Conference that's going to be held in January. When I first got on council many moons ago, we became a woman majority on council, and I thought it would be really fun to get young women together and talk about places that they can see themselves in the future. Working with MIAC, some current and former MIAC students, young women students, they did a survey in their schools and they found out topics that their students at their age are interested in. So we're going to be targeting those subjects. The conference is going to be Saturday, March 22nd. We're calling it a Shine Your Light conference. Shine Your Light's a little thing that I've had that's been attached to me for a very long time, and so we're calling it the Shine Your Light conference. But it's designed to empower young women to lead and to succeed, and it's in partnership with Rio Salado. It's a free one-day conference, and it's going to be for young women ages 14 to 22, and they can ask questions about careers, communications, leadership, health and well-being, and financial literacy, which is one of the topics that they wanted. In addition to the conference that we have formed with local business partners, a Shine Your Light mentorship program that will be available for the attendees to participate in. So I want to really thank my assistant, Parrish, for helping to pull this together, working with MIAC and other city staff. It's going to be, I think, a really wonderful event. I hope that everybody will be interested in joining. Again, the registration opens up in January, and we hope to see you there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So just want to once again pass along our condolences to the family of Captain Scott Latham, and just wanted to make sure that we keep his wife Ashley and his children in our thoughts and prayers this evening. I know that all of us at the City of Tempe family, especially all of the men and women of Tempe Fire Medical Rescue, are very much hurting this evening and grieving. So I want to make sure that we all pay tribute to Captain Latham this evening. And I'd like to see if we all, if you're able and willing to stand to join me in a moment of silence for Captain Latham. Thank you. I'm going to go to item number 10, public appearances. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council this evening? Okay. Seeing none, that brings me to item number 11, which is adjournment. The next regular scheduled city council meeting is going to be on January 9th, 2025. We are adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.